Hi, I'm Jay. I'm the client success manager here at Root. And if you reach out to us, I'll most likely be the first person you talk to. Welcome to Advisor Unplugged, where you get a behind the scenes peek at the real humans behind the planning. Let's be honest, one of the biggest reasons you choose an advisor is trust. So we're doing these chats to help you get to know our team before ever hopping on a call. Today, we're talking to the incredible Katie Kavehrad out of Knoxville, Tennessee. You're going to really enjoy this one. Let's dig in. Welcome to the show, my good friend Katie Kavehrad, coming in live and direct from Knoxville, Tennessee, right?
That's right. Yeah. Hey, Jay.
And I think we have, is it three Rudies now?
We've
It's
got three
Chris
weeks and
Brown,
so, yep.
you, and
Rock.
Rock, Big Daddy Rock. So we got three of you guys, and I know, just to get right into it, you are actually a Pacific Northwest girl, right? And then moved to Knoxville, I think in around 2022-ish.
Yeah, that's right.
What was the catalyst for you leaving the Pacific Northwest to Knoxville?
I mean, it's a long story, but I ended up getting a job with a firm that was based in Knoxville, and my husband and I were just kind of dreaming about, yeah, what would it look like to be out in Tennessee, and had visited and really kind of just fell in love with Knoxville. Our one of our close couple friends also relocated about 6 months before we did, and it
Nice.
was totally a jump. It was a big leap of faith, and but thankfully we landed in a community. We made great friends. We have wonderful neighbors. Our kids are in a great
Right.
school. So it's worked out really well. But yeah, in hindsight, it sounds a little crazy talking about it looking backwards.
But it is still hard, right? Because you are thriving in Knoxville. I know you love it, but you are such a family person, and your family is all in the Pacific Northwest, right?
Yeah, they are on both sides. We still have family. We're actually going back so we're trying to do every year, at least once a year, we do kind of like an extended visit. So we're heading back actually at the end of this week to see family, which will be great. But yeah, the time difference and then obviously the big trips back
Yeah.
and make it a little hard.
What part did you grow up in?
Grew up in Eugene, so
Yes.
University of Oregon. Grew up in Eugene, and then right after I finished school, I moved up to Portland. So spent like most of my 20s in Portland, Oregon. Yeah, yeah.
Really?
My
Okay.
husband's family's in Portland as well.
Did you go to the University of Oregon?
I did, yes.
Yes. I'm so envious of people who had incredible college experiences like that actually had sports. I went to a UC school that, good school, but it just didn't have the camaraderie. So what was that like going to that school?
Oh my gosh, it was really fun. So I graduated in 2009, and that was like right when Chip Kelly was coaching for
Yeah.
football, and so it was that whole era, and it was so fun. Yeah, football season was great, and was involved in a lot of like campus organizations and stuff. So yeah, college was wonderful. I have great memories.
Was wonderful. Yeah. And so like, I feel like Ducks fans are loud and proud, the alumni strong, like you'll be I always say for schools like that, it's such a good icebreaker because you could be anywhere in the United States, anywhere in the world, and you drop that you're alumni of the Ducks, and people are like, yeah, right. And there's common ground there.
Oh, for sure. Even sometimes driving around Knoxville, we'll see like a random Oregon Ducks on like the back of a car or something on a
Yep.
license. Like, hey, look at that.
Huge. So, okay, when you were in school at the University of Oregon, were you starting to contemplate your eventual career in finance, or is that far off from there?
Well, I studied business, mostly marketing, and then I minored in economics. So I always knew it was going to be something in business. I did not know I was going to be a financial advisor. That took a few twists and turns to get on this
Right.
path, but always knew I wanted to pursue business, and obviously like finance is part of what we studied through those courses that
Yeah.
I took in college. But yeah, I don't think I knew right out the gate exactly what I wanted to do.
But you thought so when you were going to school, you were like, all right, I'm going to major in marketing and I'm going to do something in business, but I don't know exactly.
Yeah, I got recruited by a mentor of mine to go. So I started in sales. I worked in
Yes.
healthcare sales,
Okay.
and she was a mentor. She's still a friend, and she was basically servicing some of the largest health systems in the Pacific Northwest. And so she
Mhm.
recruited me and I went to go work for her. And I'm an introverted person. And I was like, I don't know if sales is going to be a great fit. But she was like, no, trust me. I think you're going to love it. You're going to be great at it. And I actually found that I loved the relational side of it. I
Yes.
loved building the client customer relationships. And it was a great learning experience. Like you learn a lot when you're trained in sales. There's a lot of applicable skills that I think you can go a million different, avenues with those skill sets. And they put me on an airplane. I really hadn't flown a lot, which was interesting, Jay.
Right.
I didn't grow up like taking big trips as a kid. And
Right.
first week on the job, they put me on a plane and like I was flying all over the place. So I got to, yeah, it was for an experience. I learned a ton and got to
Yeah.
travel a bit with that. So
I
yeah,
mean, sales is so interesting because like you said, you learn so many skills that are applicable throughout your day to day life. And I tell people it's really important to learn how to communicate with all different walks of life,
yeah,
different cultures, different backgrounds, all of the things, right? And how people communicate differently,
hmm,
And so I thought that was a huge win. And I came in it from a different angle. See, people used to peg me, "Oh, Jay, you got to go into sales. You're extroverted."
right,
And I was like, "Yes, I'm extroverted, but it's because I genuinely like to get to know people, but I do not like pushing things on people." Right.
mm,
So the idea of selling something was not appealing. But I think to your point, when I got into it and I found out, oh, you can relational build, right?
hmm,
And then the sale will come will follow and come with that. But I
exactly.
came at it from like, hey, I'm going to get to know people. I'm going to support people. I'm going to give them a product that I believe in that can help them. So that's how I had to reframe it. So it was always really important who I worked for, right? The product I was representing.
Yep. Absolutely.
Um, so okay, so you start in sales, and then like how do we bridge the gap till we get to here working
Yep.
as a financial advisor at Root?
Yeah. So part of my journey, my next step, I actually ended up going to work for a donor advised fund. And I worked really closely alongside with an estate planning attorney. Her name was Jeannie.
Okay.
And we would serve ultra high net worth families. And basically, these were business owners and real estate investors, really, and families that wanted to take non cash assets and basically give generously to fund some of their favorite like charitable causes. And so this estate planning attorney, Jeannie, I used to sit in these meetings with her, and she was trained as an attorney, but she
Hmm.
also was basically a financial planner. She was a tax planner. She knew about investments and insurance. Like she was so technically savvy. And I was in
Yes.
my, early 20s and just sitting in these meetings and kind of just in awe of her because she had both technical expertise,
Yeah.
but she really had the ability to connect with people. She was a great
Hmm.
storyteller. She would just ask really good questions, and almost like a lot of those meetings, Jay, the client would end up, in tears because we're talking about generational wealth. We're
Hmm.
talking about their kids. We're talking about broken relationships, the things that matter most to them. And I was just in awe of how she could kind of tie the technical piece and just be really, really, so great at the technical aspects of planning, but also tie it in with getting to the heart of what that client cares about. And she did it so beautifully that it was always inspiring. So that was kind of the start of it. At
Katie,
one
can
point,
I interrupt you for a second?
yeah,
You know
go
what
ahead.
I love about that story is that's you, and that's how I describe you. I talk about Katie K as this incredibly passionate person who's very smart, who is a devil for the details, who can get deep into the technical weeds of it, but can synthesize that stuff, right? And put it in this digestible content that people can understand, where it's not feeling like it's going over your head and it's all this financial jargon. And you can communicate with people like that. You're one of these incredible personalities that I can pair up with almost any type of personality because you adjust so well. And so if someone wants to get super technical with you and deep into the weeds, you can do that. But if someone doesn't want to do that and wants to stay surface layer, you can do that as well. So I just want to compliment you on that because I think that is like a superpower that you have.
Thank you. That's so
Yeah.
kind. I mean, yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I used to say about her. And
Hmm.
at one point I was even like, should I go to law school? Like, how do I become Jeannie, basically? And I did
Right.
not, I did not elect to go to law school, and I'm glad that I didn't. But then, several years later, so in that role, one of my core responsibilities was to network with financial advisors. And we would put on different classes, luncheons, give them CE credit, like on different advanced estate planning topics. And anyway, one of those financial advisors, we just kept in touch and met up with her
Yeah.
several years later. And she was basically like, I think you should come work with me. You should come be an advisor. And I ended up joining in her firm, and that's kind of how I got started on this track. So, yeah, kind of
Really?
crazy. And then looking back, Jay, it's so funny because as a kid, like sometimes, you think about, I don't know, just like going back to like that idea of personality traits, like I am a more introverted person, but as a kid, I don't know, I was just always kind of nerdy, and like I had this little wooden desk at home, and for fun, like as a 4 or 5 year old, pretend play. I would literally just sit there. I had like a little calculator, a little pretend keyboard, and I would play like bank teller because that's the only visual
Yeah.
I had of somebody that worked
Yeah.
with me. I didn't know what a financial advisor was.
No.
Um, and I would just sit there and do that for fun. And I remember my mom would always say, like, you should become a financial advisor when you grow up. And I was like, what? I don't know what that is, mom. Like, but I can remember her telling me that as a really young kid.
Really?
So it's kind of crazy to come full circle.
Full circle.
Yeah.
So was it your relationship with Jeannie in that experience that led you to becoming a chartered advisor in philanthropy?
Yes, yeah. So she and then my other boss at the time, who was also a CAP, they
Yeah.
both recommended it. And yeah, that designation was great. It goes through a lot of advanced on the estate side and also the
Yeah.
charitable side, advanced planning topics. But yeah, did that while I was there at the Donor Advice Fund.
And sorry to go deeper on that, Katie. Tell people what client goals does that equate to? Is that someone who is trying to start donor funds?
Yeah, could be. Could involve a donor advised fund, but it's really anyone that has some charitable intent. Like anything
Okay.
in the philanthropy realm, there's so many tools in the planning toolbox for that
Yep.
sometimes they apply depending on your situation, especially the higher net worth you go, the more you'll see those types of tools implemented.
Yep.
They can be used both to facilitate something for charity, but
Yep.
also in the estate planning realm, there's a lot of crossover because it can move assets out of the estate and do so in a
Hmm.
really tax efficient manner. And so, kind of getting into those conversations of generational wealth, especially, there's a lot of cool planning techniques that you can use.
And you can help people who aren't already in that, right? People that are curious about it, who want to get into the charity space.
Absolutely. I always
Okay.
tell people if there's any level of charitable intent, even if
Yes.
looking at, someone that's still accumulating and still in their working years,
Yeah.
there's lots of ways you can optimize for tax efficiency instead of just giving cash. So,
Okay. That's good to know. How did you end up here at Root? Like, how did you find out about us?
yeah, so like pretty much everybody else, I found James's videos on YouTube.
Hmm.
At the time, I was kind of asked by my previous firm to look at his channel and kind of see what he was doing from a marketing content perspective. But then the more I kept watching the videos, the more I was like, oh, like he really knows what he's talking about. I feel like I align really well with
Hmm.
how he approaches comprehensive financial planning. And I would just listen to his podcast sometimes on my commute into work. And I probably listened for about a year before just randomly one day saw a job posting on LinkedIn and uh,
Really?
decided to apply. I didn't know anybody at the firm. I just kind of assumed I would never hear anything back. And I think he responded within, I don't know, 24 hours. So it's pretty crazy how it all came to be. But yeah, found him on YouTube.
And so, how has your journey been here so far?
Oh my gosh, it's been amazing. It's flown by because it's already been over a year, which is wild. I think you just had your 1 year too, which is just crazy because it's gone by so fast.
Yep.
It's been really, really fun. We get to work with the best clients. I feel like I've grown as a planner, like leaps and bounds from my previous experiences, just because we work with clients that have decently complex situations. And so you keep learning the more that you do it. And I don't know, the team that we have here is just, I mean, I've never worked with such an incredible, talented group of wonderful humans too. Just wonderful people that we get to work side by side with every day. So it's been
I,
amazing.
I agree with you. I very much agree with you on that. There's no, as I say, there's no bad seeds in root,
Agree.
right?
100%.
Okay. So, how would you describe your approach to working with clients?
Yeah. I really feel like, I guess I would say, first of all, it's very personalized for every
Hmm.
client. That's really important to me is I don't want, I think about the meetings that we have, especially with new clients coming on board. I want each of those to be really customized to that client, to whatever they have told me matters most to them. I want that to be reflected back to them in the way that I present their plan, talk about their plan. So for sure personalized, and then also just a partnership. I always think of it as a partnership. Like, this is, at the end of the day, this is the client's money.
Right.
And so it's not my job just to say, here's the plan, take it or leave it. Like, it's very much, there's a lot of give or take. I want the client to be able to, I want them to feel comfortable to ask really any question. I
Yeah.
want them to feel like it's like a very approachable, safe place to come and do that. Because oftentimes you
Right.
get people, especially if it's a couple that may or may not, like, one is usually more exposed to some of the planning videos, ideas, topics, and one is usually less exposed to some of those things. And so, how do
Yep.
you get, comfortable for everybody to come into those meetings and feel like they can engage and participate? So, I'd say for sure personalized, and then also just want them to always feel like it's a partnership. And my goal is always that it's a long term relationship. Like, just
Yeah.
love building those relationships with the hope that they last for a really, really long time.
Yeah. I like that you touched on the point that there's usually in a couple, really, like in a couple situation, there's usually one spouse that's more into it than the other one.
Yeah.
And that could be from the actual financial planning part of it. That could be from watching the videos. So it's interesting. It's like you've had one spouse who's watched a ton of our content,
Yeah.
who is very familiar with the Sequoia process and things that we do, and is really excited. And then bringing the other spouse into it, going, "Hey, trust me, this is great. I found these guys on YouTube."
Yeah.
Right. And so that's why I'm like, our secret sauce is our advisors, because they're dealing with all these kind of unique situations where one person might feel more comfortable than the other. And that's a delicate balance. But also, it's a almost a prerequisite of ours to work with both spouses. Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
As I've always said, this is not just about investments. This is your life we're talking about. And as corny as this might sound, your advisor is going to become part advisor, part life coach, part family member.
Mm-hmm.
So, we want them both involved. Um, what should clients expect when working with you, if anything?
I mean, you said it before, but I am a very detailed person, and that's just
Hmm.
my wiring. Like, I can't help it. So I take kind of tedious notes, but I do it for a reason. I want to know my clients. I want to know their families. I want to know the names of their kids, what their kids do. I want to know their names of their pets. Like, I want to have all those notes because it's really important to me, like I said, for the client to feel like just that they're known. Like, they're not
Yeah,
coming to a meeting and they're hearing the same thing that 10 other people heard that week, right? Like, I want
exactly.
everything to feel like, when I present something, I want them to almost feel like, oh, she knows us, she knows our situation, she remembered this about what we said. And so I think that level of detail, it can be a little much maybe compared to others, but I just do it because I want to be able to remember all those ins and outs of each person. So I'd say, to your point earlier, if they're also a detailed person, we can kind of we get that, we can sync on that. And then if
Yep.
they're not, because sometimes they're just not, to your point earlier, maybe I had with a client I was working with earlier this year, the wife said, I want the Cliff Notes version. Like, my husband wants the detail and
Yep.
I want just the Cliff Notes summary. And I was like, we can
Perfect.
do that. We can do that. I'll give you
Perfect.
the
Yeah.
so yeah, understanding, and then yeah, like literally remembering, oh, she says she wants Cliff Notes, so I'm going to go make sure that she gets the summary. Um, so yeah, just, I think, that level of detail can go a long way in making people feel like they're known.
On that note of cliff notes, can you share a story or a moment with a client where you really felt like the work was making impact?
Yeah, so I'll share one that's just very recent, so it's top of mind.
Hmm.
But I would say that the scenarios I've gone through it a number of times, so it's kind of common. Have a client that we just started working together this year, so it's a newer client,
Yep.
and we always talk in the first initial meeting about kind of saving versus spending, kind of like what they saw modeled for them as a kid. And sometimes I call it money scripts. And we had talked about that in that first call. And he said, he kind of explained, like, I've always been a saver. He had already been retired for several years and had been like really, he used the term like pinching pennies. They were
Yeah.
like really just getting by on the basics. They had been in retirement, but they weren't like really living. And as we started to like dig into it more, asking about some of the things that they wanted to do, they wanted to go to the theater, they wanted to go out to dinner more, they wanted to travel, and they had this big goal of wanting to do a world cruise. And it was a big shift. It was a mindset shift because they had been living, so frugally. But I just got the email from him this last week that they've paid the deposit on the world cruise and that they're doing it. So it's a small example, but like when those emails come through, I just celebrate them because it's like it takes a
Yes.
lot for somebody that has been a saver, that has lived really frugally. Most of our clients, they haven't gotten to where they are today by living super lavishly, right? Like,
Oh,
yeah,
they've been working hard.
they were working
They,
super hard. Yes, they've been saving diligently. And so sometimes the biggest hurdle is getting them to go spend.
of
It
course.
happens more often than people would maybe think that it does. And so just, I don't know, I love celebrating that with clients.
Yeah. Katie, don't you think that's a common trend of having it be a really tough mindset shift when people go from stopping, like they've stopped accumulating, basically they've stopped working, and then they're expected to spend,
Hmm.
and they're sitting there going, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel comfortable. I've been working hard my whole life and I've got this amount of money that I need to make last this amount of time. And so that to me is a really pivotal point where I feel that you guys as advisors and us as a firm can really bring home value and impact, because there's an educational part of what you guys do with them through the Sequoia process, and giving them that confidence and clarity in a game plan, right? And knowing and letting them know where they stand, and that if their money's invested right, it's going to compound over time. And um, so I feel like that's one of the most powerful things that we can provide.
Yeah, I love that it's embedded in our culture here. It's not
Yes.
just something we say online, but we don't actually practice, right? Like
Yes.
it's so ingrained in our culture that this is, to a large extent, it makes up a lot of the conversation in meetings with clients, and that's what we get to celebrate, and that's why the job is just so fun, is because we're celebrating them actually getting the most out of life with their money. So I love it.
Yep. What is Katie K doing outside of work? I know you have a full time active schedule. You're a mama bear. You're a wife. You're a full time worker. You got so many things up in the air. Give us a day in the life. What's going on over there?
It's so funny because sometimes I have a number of clients who are pre-retirement working moms, and we always just laugh on these calls because I'll ask like, "What are your hobbies? Tell me about your hobbies." And the response is always 10 out of 10. I have no hobbies. Like my hobby is taking care of my family and I work. And I
Yes.
have to laugh about it because it's just the season of life that I'm in and I love it. I wouldn't trade it for anything. Um, but a lot of my time when I'm not working is, yes, to your point, I'm taking care of my family, making sure the kids have just shoes that fit their feet and clothes that fit and the presents are bought for the birthday parties and all the mom things that moms do. And that keeps me very busy. But truly, I'm very much a homebody.
You
I
are.
love
Okay.
being at home with my family. We love having people over to our homes. We like to host.
Good.
Um, I love just like I don't know, it sounds so boring, but like even just like a fire pit night in the backyard with some friends, roast some s'mores, like stuff like that is just super fun to me. We do game nights and family movie nights, and I don't know. I'm very much a homebody, so it's not like we're not in the season of life where we're traveling the world. We're
No,
definitely more
no.
focused on family stuff right now.
I feel like that's totally normal as you get older, your kids are everything, and I mean, not. I mean, they're an integral part of your life and their activities. So yeah, you're not, you're not traveling the world. It's basically like you're just trying to keep this train on the tracks, right?
Mhm.
How old are
Mhm.
your kids right now?
They're 6 and 8, so they're both in
Oh,
elementary school. They've got activities, so chauffeuring
oh
them
yeah,
around, and yeah, they're like getting homework and stuff like that now too. So it's a different phase, but it's so fun. I love these
still
ages.
fun.
Yeah.
6 and 8 is, I'd say that's like almost a really good starting point of when you go, okay, I've got these two kids. They're fun. They're still into us, right? They still love
Mhm.
us. They're not too cool for us, obviously. Um, you get to a point where if you do travel, it's not as hard, right?
Yes, so
They're
true.
becoming more adaptable.
Hmm.
Our kids are 10 and 12, and it's like the best time of our lives. Like, I don't ever want it to stop.
Yeah.
And part of it, though, is like the crazy amount of activities that they're involved in, but it's self motivated. Like, they
Yeah.
both love theater, they love art,
Mhm.
sports, things like that. And so I'm like, hey, if you guys are fired up about it, me and my wife are like, we'll support you, right?
Mhm.
Because we want to like give you the opportunities that maybe we feel like weren't afforded
Yeah.
to us at the time, right? So if I if I gotta work longer and harder to make this stuff happen, we'll do it, right? And if it's so funny because my mom's like, Jay, you guys are so busy, and I'm like, I don't know, mom. It's like it happens one time because in a couple of years, my son's gonna be in high school and he won't need us as much, and I don't know. I'm just trying to like hold like I love it, right?
Same. I'm trying to soak it up because I know I'll blink and they'll be like graduating from high school. So,
Big time, absolutely, absolutely. So how do you guys as a family experience Knoxville? Like, how do you guys utilize it? What's fun about it?
okay. So I don't know how, like, you probably don't know a ton about, have you been to Knoxville before or the
I
Smoky?
haven't.
Okay. So,
No, no, but I've been Rock educated me about it a little bit.
oh, did he? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're within a 45-minute drive from, I mean, just, it's a very, we're close to the Smoky Mountains. It's also
Yep.
kind of a touristy area, so you have to be careful about the times that you go. But there's so many things to go do. Which in the Pacific Northwest, there's beautiful outdoors things. You're hiking, like totally like outdoors, camping, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Out here, there's like I don't know, there's like a water park within a 35-minute drive from us that's super fun. There's a million different things that you can go do. We have
Okay.
Dollywood like really close. I mean, there's just so many things. So because we're new to the area, we're just trying all the things. And there's a
Yeah.
million things to explore and go do. And then just even the difference in like how quickly you can jump states out here because everything's so much closer together. So it's like,
Yes.
want to go visit Kentucky. Never been to Kentucky. Like, want to go over to South Carolina, go to Hilton Head Island. Like, there's just a lot of different places that we had never experienced or traveled to before that we're
Right.
just loving exploring. So, and to your point, kids are not taking naps, they're not in diapers or something. So, like, we can just go out and adventure. It's really fun.
And cruise around. So I know it's that phase of life where you don't get to travel much, but if you guys do take trips, what kind of trips are you guys taking?
Okay, so I just mentioned one that we've been doing. We've gone to Hilton Head Island for a couple years in a row and really love it. So it's a little bit of a drive, but it's like 7.5 hours ish from Knoxville. But we love it. It's beautiful. It's very family friendly. We love to just rent bikes and go bike and go to
Yep.
the beach and all that stuff. So that's been a really big one. Um, Before we moved out here, and then we've gone back to visit a couple of times. We love Bend. I think you've been to Bend, Oregon, but like
Yes.
some
Love
rivers
Ben.
there that we've really loved visiting. Same thing. It's like very family friendly. You can bike everywhere, which we love. Obviously, there's like a water park and stuff like that. So yeah, probably those are our top two that we've visited. And I just like the idea of having like the kids having a place that they remember going to kind of every year. And so we're trying to do that and just make it like a tradition.
So is that it? So do you guys go? You said Sun River, right?
Hmm.
In Bend. Do you
Yeah.
guys go there quite frequently?
Yeah, we used to go every single summer,
Yeah.
once or twice a summer. The last time we went was now like a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago. So
Okay.
we're due for another trip. But yeah, I
We
love
got
it.
to go a couple years ago on spring break. So it was April.
Mm,
So we saw it all. We
yeah,
saw sunny skies. We saw snow. We saw it all.
yeah,
So we didn't get to fully experience Bend, like because
yeah.
I've heard the summer
The summer was
experience there
beautiful.
is incredible, right?
Yeah,
For me, the summer is dangerous in Pacific Northwest because it's like stimulus overload for me because I'm like a child. I want to do so many things. So the
yeah.
sun goes down later. There's so much
Hmm.
outdoor adventures, and I'm just like a little kid in a candy store. And every time I'm up in that area in the summer, I'm like, I'm moving up here. And then people quickly remind me, like, Jay, you're from Southern California. You would get crushed here in the winter with the gray and
Okay.
the rain. And
Yeah.
I am very quick to change my decision on that.
I know.
Um,
Summers are beautiful though. It's really hard to top that for
it's
sure.
the best. It's the best. Being from where you're, the Pacific Northwest, you live in Knoxville now. Would you align yourself more with as a beach person, a city person, or a mountain person?
I want to say beach only because I didn't realize that I would miss being like an hour and a half from the ocean. And granted, like Pacific Ocean is different from the Atlantic, but
Right.
I love being near the ocean. So I think for sure beach. Now we have to drive a
Really?
bit further to get to the water. Yeah,
Yeah, I think sometimes you don't realize how connected you are to bodies of water until you leave them,
that's a real thing. Yeah.
right? And then
Hmm.
you're like, and I 100% get like, I can feel myself getting more comfortable when I'm closer to water.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
I do love the energy of like going into big cities and feeling that, right?
Yeah.
Because it's different.
I do.
Um, okay, so what's something that maybe a lot of us at Root, including your clients, would know about you?
Wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Hmm. I guess I don't know if anyone at Root would know this, but I was adopted from South
Okay.
Korea. So I was born in South Korea. I
Okay.
was adopted. I have two brothers that are biological for my parents, and then also another sister who was adopted from South Korea. I was actually in the foster care system for a little bit as a young
You
baby.
were.
So, yeah, which I don't know if anyone here would know. It's not really like something that comes up just randomly in conversation, um, but yeah, because of that, it's definitely, in terms of like causes that I care a lot about, something that's very near and dear to my heart. And so when it comes to like volunteering or
Yes.
philanthropy, that is like probably one big area where I really love to give back to. Actually, last week, some of our dear friends here in Knoxville, they led a camp for foster children here in our city. And
Hmm.
it was like a week long thing. And I got to go out on the first and the last day and just kind of see what it was all about. And it was so cool. But it was like all about just treating those kids like royalty. So that one was really cool to be part of. And when we were back in Oregon, got to volunteer with another organization called Safe Families for Children. And that organization is all about just like wrapping around foster care families, supporting them, giving them respite when they need it. So, yeah, it's definitely a cause that is very near to my heart for sure.
That's incredible, Katie. God, that's so interesting because my one of my best friends, Todd, he's very active in foster youth, and he just got back. He goes every year. It's very intensive. I've always wanted to go, but it's a full week away. Sometimes he goes for 2 weeks. It's called Royal Family Kids Camp,
It's the
and
same thing. That's the
it's the
camp
same
that
thing.
it was their first year in Knoxville. That's so cool that he's part of that. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, Todd, and he does it every year, and some of a group of our friends do it, and it's one of those experiences. He comes back where he's literally completely emotionally and physically drained, but like
Hmm.
filled with love and purpose, and
Yes.
giving those kids a week off,
Mhm.
basically, and just showering with love and support and attention.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to hear that you guys do it out there too, and that's a
Yeah.
meaningful cause because there's a need for that for sure.
Yeah.
Um, Okay, so you say you're an introvert. Does that mean like obviously you probably your tank refills when you're at home relaxing?
Mhm.
Does that mean are you a big reader?
I do love to read.
Okay.
Not time.
Yeah, not a lot of time.
Depends on, I guess, the month. I did join a book club. So I'm part of a book club in my neighborhood, which is forcing me to read things that I wouldn't usually like gravitate to. So that's been
Yeah.
fun. But yeah, I do love to read.
So you joined a book club?
I did, yeah, probably
Yes.
6 months ago. Yeah, it's been really fun. It's a great way to meet other people in the neighborhood, and like I said, like read books I wouldn't usually pick up. So
I should probably do that just for the purpose of having an accountability partner.
yeah.
I love to ideate about reading. Love the concept of it. Oh, I'm going to crush this book, and this book. And my wife is absolutely had it up to here with me because I love going to bookstores. I love getting excited about getting a book. And that
Hmm.
night I'll come home, I'll read a couple chapters, be into it, like
Yeah,
enjoy the experience, but will
yeah,
not come back night
we'll
two,
never
three,
quit.
or. And
Yeah,
so she's like, Jay, these books just pile.
like
And
a
when
stack
people
on
ask,
your
a
stand,
stack,
basically. Yeah.
absolutely. She's probably watched me commit to a couple of them.
It probably depends on
And
the genre, though. Do you think it depends what you're reading?
so I, I've said this a lot. Like for the most part, if it's like usually like when it comes to like podcast or reading, it's got to be informational for me because
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a lot of time. So if I'm going to spend the time on it, I've got to learn from it.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember like I've tried to read fiction stuff and enjoyed it. I just can't stay in the habit of it,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's too relaxing for me. And so it's just a weird relationship I have with reading. I'd like to get into it so I can get better sleep hygiene to tie into that.
Yeah.
Um, all of the things. And so yeah, it's something I'm trying to do this year, baby
Mm-hmm.
steps by baby steps. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Baby
So
steps.
I think the book club, I was like, maybe I should join a book club because then I have a due date when I got to read this book by,
Yeah. Yeah, I
right?
do something to it. I definitely like, even if you start the book and you're like, like I'm not, I kind of like, but then you get into like, you just keep reading because you know you got to finish it. So, and then you
Yeah,
start you like it. So, yeah,
I know. Okay. If Root had a talent show, what would your talent be?
this is a hard one because I really don't feel like I have any like super cool talents. Okay, this is really random and it doesn't really count as a talent, but it's like top of mind because like I said, we're getting ready to go visit Oregon. So I'm packing this week. I do feel like I'm a pretty good packer. I know that's not really a talent,
That's a talent. That
but
is a
like
talent.
both for when we've moved in the past, but also just for trips and stuff, like I can do it pretty quickly and I feel like I like will fit it, you know, as many things in there as optimally as possible. So I don't know if packing is a talent. I don't know if that counts.
It is, and that will resonate with anybody that's ever had kids before, right?
Yeah.
Because the packing gets, especially when they're younger and you got to do car seats and all that, but like you're packing for yourself, you're packing for your kids. All of a
Yes.
sudden, we're wheeling four cases, and
Yep.
then you start going, "This, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way."
I know.
So I give it up to my wife has become a really good, efficient packer. I'm
Yep.
super light. So we've got it narrowed down to a family of four. We have
Hmm.
one carry on. Like if we go away for like a week, we have one carry on that's her stuff and the kids' stuff. And then I pack in a weekender bag that I can bring on. That includes my clothes and like my laptop. That's it.
Wait, she fits hers plus the kids in one carry on?
One carry on.
That's
Yep.
impressive.
Like
Okay.
a Samsonite roller bag, like
Yeah.
rectangular roller bag. Yeah. We fit it all in there. And then, usually one or two of us will have a backpack, but
Yeah.
yeah, because we'll do stuff like, hey, are we staying somewhere that has laundry?
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
then we can reduce right there. That's a big one. Obviously, it's hard when you're going to a place that has inclement weather, right?
Right.
What do we got to pack for? And I know for women it's a lot different than guys because we're pretty simple. It's like top, bottom, sweatshirt,
True.
right?
Yes.
You guys
That's
have to pack for different moments. I totally get that, but I'm very proud of diligent packers. So I think it's a talent.
Are you the type that you get home from a trip and you unpack right away, or do you like procrastinate on the unpack?
What we try to do, we will literally, if there's a washer machine at the, like say the Airbnb, we'll try to wash clothes before we leave and then unpack when we get home.
Yeah.
Then what we'll do is like my wife's pretty good at like she will get the stuff and like immediately throw it in the laundry.
Hmm.
I'd say it depends. Sometimes you're in a good like flow and you get home and you're just like, okay, let's just the house is clean, so let's do it. Blah, 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 blah. And then sometimes you're like, oh, a couple days go by and you're like, okay, let's unpack this thing. So
Hmm.
we're 50-50, I'd say. What
That's
do you
fair.
think? What about you?
I feel like I usually have to unpack like right away. And I do think it does, to your point, I think it helps to come home to a clean house. I think it's like you just want to keep things clean because it's already
Yes.
clean. So you're just like, let me take care of it now and then we'll put all the luggage away and it'll be done.
And that drives her crazy about me because I get in this thing right before we leave when we need to be focusing on other stuff. I start cleaning the dishes. I start doing this
Oh,
because
yeah.
I'm anticipating wanting to come home to a clean house. And so,
Hmm.
yeah, it's a beautiful thought, Jay, but maybe do it like the day before and
Not
not wait till like we need to get out to the airport. She's like, Guy, what are you doing? I'm like, gotta get this house clean. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing, but
get it.
love coming home to a clean house. Okay, let's finish with the rapid fire,
Okay.
which tends to not be so rapid. All right. Are you an early bird or a night owl?
Early bird.
What time do you get up?
I try to get up by 5:30, but I have a little trick. Um, which is kind of geeky, but I have like a red light. I'm like
Okay.
really into holistic stuff, and I have a
I
red
love
light.
that.
And basically, you can train your body to basically wake up at a certain time by like the red light will trick your body into thinking it's the sunrise if it's the first thing that you look at in the morning.
Really?
So I will use the red light in the morning, and then it basically just trains my body to wake up at the same time every day.
That's incredible. Wait, so what time do you go to bed?
Oh, I'm not as good about this. I want to be better. I try to go to bed by 10, but I'm definitely not perfect with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good. That's a little flexibility there. Um, Podcasts or playlists?
Podcasts. Yeah.
All right. Give us some podcasts. Like what style podcast you listen to?
Um, Literally everything from motherhood and parenting to geeky health, like holistic health stuff,
Of
to
course.
yeah, again, nerdy like tax and estate planning investments. Like it's the whole spectrum of
It's the whole
topics.
spectrum.
But those are probably like the main three topics that I listen to. Yeah.
Okay. So you're crushing podcasts. And then I know we talked a little bit about this, but what would you say your favorite vacation spot is?
Right now, I feel like it's Hilton Head Island just because because we've been
Yeah.
doing it kind of like on repeat, and our kids are starting to really love it. And so we're like
Yep.
now trying to make a tradition out of doing the same things. Like so, yeah, probably right now Hilton Head.
Great spot. Um, One word your friends would use to describe you.
Um, Intentional, maybe.
Perfect. Intentional. Love it. Um, and because we ask our clients a lot about their retirement dreams, right? Purpose. If you could describe your retirement dream.
Yeah. Hmm. Um, okay. I don't know if this is like it feels very simple, but would love to be a grandma one day. Hopefully, way down there, way out in the future. My kids are still
Way
very
out in the
young.
future.
Um, but like would love to live near if I have grandkids one day.
Mm-hmm.
I have a straight like I would love to have some chickens, maybe a little more space, maybe have a garden. I don't
Yeah.
know if that'll ever happen, but I would really enjoy that.
Yeah.
Um, and then I don't know because I miss being closer to the ocean. Maybe like spend part of the year closer to the
Yeah.
beach. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm with you. I think I have a similar game plan to you. Um, Katie, it has been such an honor, pleasure talking with you. I always love our convos. I know we don't get to talk a ton, but I mean what I said about you. You are an incredible advisor. Our clients are lucky to have you. We are so lucky to have you here at Root, and your future is going to be absolutely bright. And I know only good things are going to happen. Um, so just want to say that, and I really appreciate you taking the time to be with me today.
Thank you, Jay. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Have a good one.
Bye.